everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jessica Ward King, the Stigma Crusher here. Today I want to talk a little bit about the relapsing-remitting course of a lot of mental illnesses, in particular bipolar disorder, which is what I live with, and how that can really mess with the mind. So bipolar disorder is the kind of disorder where sometimes you're well, sometimes you're not. And it can be, these periods of unwellness or wellness can be precipitated by things that you do, but sometimes it seems to relate to nothing at all that anyone is doing. And that can be really difficult to navigate. So let me give you an example. So last year, I guess almost 2023. Yeah, 2023, 2 years ago. I started the ketogenic diet, and that was after a period of distinct unwellness. I was up, I was down, I was rapid cycling, I was, manic, I was depressed, I was everything. And I started the ketogenic diet, and I had a period of wellness and stability for about 6 months. And I didn't change anything. Nothing in my life changed. I didn't change the diet. I didn't change the supplements I was taking. I didn't change the medications I was taking. And a period of depression descended upon me and lasted for about a year. And nothing I did seemed to work. The medications that I changed medications, like I changed a lot of medications. I stayed true to the diet. I stayed true to my supplements routine, and nothing I did seemed to change out of that depressive episode. It was very persistent, and it was worsening. I mean, at one point there was suicidality. It was very, very difficult. And then I did a sleep deprivation protocol, and that led to a period of wellness. And so since October of 2024, I have been feeling well. And that's been about 6 months. Now things have happened in my life, and so I can kind of see what the stressors might be that are precipitating this, but I'm starting to feel unwell again. I'm starting to get depressive symptoms again. And so that looks like a lack of enjoyment in things that I previously enjoyed, depressed mood, heightened anxiety, less concentration, thinking negatively, catastrophizing, thinking that I'm doing a bad job, thinking that I'm being a bad mother, whatever the case is. And so I've got the cognitive symptoms. I've got some affective or emotional symptoms. I'm finding it more difficult to get out of bed in the morning, and I'm sticking to a very strict circadian rhythm routine where I'm supposed to get up at 4:30 in the morning, do my light box, so my sad lamp, for an hour or so, and every day, regardless of whether it's weekends, whether it's days that I work from home, it doesn't matter. I'm supposed to get up at 4:30. Finding it more difficult to do that, finding myself, it's very difficult to get out of bed. I want more sleep, and so my sleep patterns are changing. And so all of these symptoms are starting to creep in. Now, there have been stressors in my life, and that may be precipitating this episode. But then the wonder is there anything that I can do to stop it from worsening, to return things around? Or is this just the very biological relapsing, remitting? Here we are in a period of relapsing, rather. And is that just, the rhythm? And it does seem to be the rhythm. I get periods of wellness for anywhere from 6 months to a year, maybe, tops, before I get another period of unwellness, which can look like depression and or mania and or both. And I mean, that's just the disease. That's just the disorder that I live with. But I think that people with mental illness, it can be very difficult to navigate this relapsing-remitting course, because it feels like nothing you do can make any difference. And when something you do does make a difference, like trying the keto diet, it makes a difference, but then you relapse eventually anyway, whether you're doing it or not. With the sleep deprivation and the circadian rhythm, I'm going to relapse whether I do it or not. And the worry is that going to work again? You know, am I going to be able to kickstart it again? Am I going to be able to fight it off? Or is this just a biological inevitability that I will have these periods of unwellness that will be persistent and difficult to treat, regardless of how I'm trying to treat them? And there are quite a few mental illnesses that have this kind of relapsing-remitting course. Major depressive disorder can have this kind of course. You can get major depressive disorder, treat it, it gets better, and you can never have another episode again in your whole life. That can happen. But for some people, they get depressive episodes, they get periods of wellness, and then they get more depressive episodes. The same with anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. Obsessive compulsive disorder can follow this, like getting worse, getting better, getting worse, getting better kind of course. And that's what's so very disheartening, I think, both for people that are living with mental illness, but also for the people that love them and for the people that are treating them, because it can really seem like no matter what you try, nothing is going to help. And I know that for myself, during periods of suicidality, I get in my mind that, well, it's always going to be this way. You know, maybe I'll have periods of wellness, but it's always going to come back to unwellness. And it's very difficult to live wondering, you know, when is the other shoe going to drop? Is this it? Is this, you know, week of feeling depressive symptoms going to turn into a full-blown depressive episode? Is this, you know, period of wellness, this treatment that I tried that got me well, is it going to work again if I try to do, you know, the sleep deprivation protocol? Is that going to result in wellness, or was that a one-trick pony? You know, how do you navigate this relapsing-remitting course? And I think one of the key things is to really get on top of mood episodes when they do arise. That's not always going to result in resolving the mood episodes, but getting on top of them, like not waiting until it's too bad to seek help, is one of the key ways that I cope. So, you know, this week of unwellness, we wouldn't call it a depressive episode. It's only been a week. It doesn't meet the 2-week criteria. But I got in to see my therapist right away, and starting to work on those cognitive aspects and the emotional aspects of, you know, living with this disorder and the stressors that I've been facing and so on. Getting in to see my psychiatrist right away, and, you know, addressing the medication issue. Do I need to increase medications? Do I need to try the sleep deprivation protocol right away? Like, what do I need to do to try to get on top of this? Because I think sometimes mood episodes can be like pain. If you get right on top of it, you can treat it, but if you let it get too bad, it kind of sets in, and it's very difficult to treat. And chronic pain is like that. And so that's one of the strategies that I use to try to deal with this idea of relapse, and, you know, trying to get on top of the relapse. But the fact is that I will relapse, and I think there's no like silver lining here. That's very difficult to live with, to wonder, when is the relapse coming? Is this it? And there's no tying this up in a neat little bow. That is something that haunts me while I'm well. I can say, wow, isn't it fantastic to feel well? Isn't it amazing that I'm feeling well? But there's always that niggling thought of, when am I going to feel unwell again? Because it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And that's tough. So for everybody out there that is living with a relapsing, remitting mental illness, I see you. it is hard. And it is a real thing. There's research literature on this worry about relapsing, this psychic pain regarding the relapsing of the disorder and the constant episodes of the mental illness in general. And it's a real thing. You're not doing it to yourself. You're not imagining it. This is a real phenomenon. And talking about it is important. Not keeping it in and wondering if you're weird, or wondering if you're, the thought has crossed my mind, am I going to make myself sick by worrying about getting sick? So talking about it is really, really important. And that's kind of the point of this video today, is just to open up the conversation, to, let people know that it's a real thing. You're not imagining this. You're not making yourself worse. And, this relapsing-remitting course is really difficult to live with. So that's today's reflection. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Stigma Crusher.